rotting driftwood on the foreign shores, spilling out into the ocean floor, and the memories all you've left without a trace. Paralyzed with the thoughts receding, current sweeps you with the silent bleeding through the heart into the darkest place. Well, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. You see the ground as it bleeds in the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. All the secrets that you're holding, all the memories you hide, all the frail thoughts that echo in the corners of your mind, they won't even last a moment. They will soon be swept away when the ocean takes you in its arms and carries you away. You carry all your burdens on the cross around your neck. You take whatever's left that you could salvage from the wreck, and the hard past will follow you like a lost dog on the beach, nipping at your trail till you've drifted out of reach. Yeah, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. See the ground as it bleeds to the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. In the broken line horizon, in the castles made of sand, you tried to hold it in your hands, you tried to understand it. The ocean asks the questions, and it holds the answers too. It dissolves away the lies about the things you thought you knew.
Hello, my friends. 'Tis I, Dame Amager Calirania. My heart and my sword are yours. And 'tis I, Adlath Karakai II, bastard son of a real bastard. Your hearts are mine. And we have our every Sunday co-host, the BloodRedTiger, John Whitehead, author of the story we will be reading this week, as we have for quite a number of weeks. Good day to you, John.
Hello.
Oh man, what has even my life been like lately? I guess my thing at the moment is that, so last week after the stream, my wife, Moth, and I went to the latest pre-release event for Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is doing its Universes Beyond thing. So this set was Avatar: The Last Airbender, or Avatar: The Legend of Aang, as it would have been published in your part of the world, John.
No, it was Last Airbender here.
Oh, was it too? Okay,
Yep.
I thought they had changed the name because Bender meant something uncouth in UK slang. All right. I don't know. Maybe that is an urban legend that I heard at some point and is not an actual thing. Fascinating. Tough Beifong Earthbending Master. Is that your favorite card from the set, or is it the broken card from the set? Anyway, yes. Hello, Rain. Hello, Rainicorn, and hello, Dearheart, Yuzu. Good day to you all. Yeah, so we went into that, and I had literally not seen a single card from the set before I stepped into this event. Usually I follow the spoilers for a set before I jump in on one of the on playing it at all, but I had been kind of drifted away from the game during the Spider-Man set, which I just had no enthusiasm whatsoever for, and from what I hear, it was not a very good set. They kind of crammed a bunch of stuff into it to try to pad it out to be a full-size set when it had originally been planned to be just a mini supplemental kind of thing. So that ended up being a bad idea. Big surprise. Anyway, so I drifted away from the game. I hadn't been keeping up with the Avatar stuff. And I stepped into the event with zero knowledge of how any of the cards worked, what any of the new mechanics were. And Moth is not her favorite part of the game is not the deck building. So usually when we go to one of these events, we go as a team. We play in the Two-Headed Giant co-op multiplayer event, and I build the decks. So it's 50 minutes of deck building time, and I have to build decks for 2 players without any prior knowledge of the cards. So it was a scramble, but I bashed together 2 decks, and we managed to get our usual record, which is 1 win, 2 losses. That's about what we usually get every time we go to one of these. So yeah, it went as usual on that count. But the more important thing was one of our pairs of opponents were really just very cool and friendly, and we hit it off with them very well. And so now we've got a little Discord group chat going, and I am trying to sort out a time for the 4 of us to get together and play some Commander Magic in some future weekend. I really want to see how that goes. I'm really excited about it, and so I am back in the mode of having all of my cards kind of sprawled out over a table next to me, trying to build new decks with all the stuff that I've accumulated since the last time I played the game in paper, or like actually played a constructed game in paper. We shall see what comes of it. I have all my old Commander decks that who knows when I last played them, years and years ago, probably pre-COVID, that I will probably dismantle half of them to do other things. I got the Fire Lord Zuko, who I don't think he's not a chase card or anything, but he looks like an interesting commander. And that's one that I pulled at the event. Katara the Fearless, whom I don't probably have the right support for to actually play as a commander. She looks cute anyway. So apparently, yeah, Through the Omen Pass was just a mess. Yeah, they just kind of, they couldn't use the Spider-Man stuff for online, so they needed to completely reskin everything, but they didn't. But again, it was all rushed. It was all this kind of last-minute decision to do this full-size set, so they don't have a story behind it or anything. Okay, and Toph Beifong was apparently plagiarism machine artwork. I'm gonna have to look at this now. Let's see. Toph. No, it doesn't. Let's see. Scryfall isn't finding it. Oh, wait a minute. No. Is it tough? What's it called? Earthbending Master? Oh, okay. Here. Let's see. Let me share this card on the screen and we can take a look at it. Let's properties in this. Browse for the file I just downloaded. Where did it go? TLE. Oh, right. The Last Airbender. Wait, where did it put it? Oh, oops. That's not where that belongs. I'm gonna randomly have a picture of a magic card in one of my Lancer game folders. Okay. There it is. Open that. And then, okay, and put it on the screen. Okay. So there's this card, Toph the Earthbending Master, and okay, yeah, that's. I can see. So on the one hand, yeah, like the generated art these days is such that I can see how that slipped through, but yeah, that doesn't really look like Toph. Like the face is kind of wrong.
Well, isn't she supposed to have white eyes, not blue?
Oh, true. Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Right. She's supposed to have.
And the back of that hat must be way up in the air.
Right. Yeah. The perspective on the hat is weird. And then, and yeah, there's some, like, who, this dude on the right-hand side who's just kind of, like, chilling, like, what is he looking at? Why is he in this picture? Yeah. So there's apparently some more suspicious cards as well. So what?
At first glance, it just looks like it's been really badly drawn with no sense of perspective or context.
Yeah. Oh gosh, and I had an incident with, well, a silly little thing with this culture of making statistical models do stuff for you myself. I think most of you have heard about it anyway because you're all in the castle and I posted it to the channel there. But yeah, that user support email I fielded where the person was like, "Hey, my AI says you broke this thing. Why did you change that?" Like, what? What are you on about, lady? What? It's like, they led the email with like, yeah, I'm not a coder, so I had AI make this bot for me, and like, well, you've just lost all credibility on like anything you say in the rest of this message. Okay, Toph Hardhead's teach. Yes, there's more suspicious cards that people are probably scrutinizing now. Yeah, it was bad enough back in. Oh, which was the set where the guy was caught just copy pasting other images into a collage and just plagiarized and just kind of reassembled things to make the artwork. It was a Crux of Fate, I think, was the card. Wasn't it? Yeah, Crux of Fate. Recent artwork has changed over. Yeah, the Crux of Fate in the Mystical Archives from Strixhaven. It's here, let's do this one too. Change that for like this thing was the last art controversy or drama that I remember hearing about, because like it's just this, once again the perspective's all weird. These two dragon men are supposed to be fighting, but like they're just kind of chopped out from elsewhere and rotated into frame. So that guy doesn't do art for Magic anymore. By force, as it were. And I can't imagine that the so-called artist of Toph Earthbending Master is going to do any more art for Magic either. Because they have made it clear that they do not want generated art in any of this stuff. I think they didn't like make a statement on, they've not like been sort of politically active one side or the other, but they're like, no, we don't. No, this is our policy. We want people to. We want to be expressing the style of the artwork that we for the artist that we chose for the piece, not melange from the internet. The Avatar Cruel Tutor art is also a controversy. It's a screen grab from the show and doesn't look good. Cruel Tutor. Okay, so that's the old one. Oh, well, yeah, okay. This is, so Cruel Tutor, okay, yeah, I can, this has become an MTG art critique stream. I promise we'll get to the story eventually. But now this has gotten interesting. So, let's see. So, Cruel Tutor here. This thing is, okay, TLE. So this is what Cruel Tutor looks like. It's just a zoom in on this guy's face from the show. This has been a thing since the Final Fantasy set, though, that for these, I forget what they're called, these alternate art cards where they, with this like black bordered white text and some screenshot or screen grab in the background. They've been doing that on these alternate art sheets since the Final Fantasy set, and they've all been bad. Like, they're so lazy, like that. It's just, the text doesn't look good. The artwork, like, sure, it's full bleed. I guess that's good, question mark, because full art cards are exciting, question mark, but they really don't have anything to recommend them. Like, you don't, Like, who wants to be looking at that across the table or showing that off as, oh yeah, this is the version of Cruel Tutor that I've got. Look at this, guys. What? No. So, yeah, it's just kind of the latest little cash grabby bit of nonsense in there. And Hasbro and WotC's machinations. They can produce this artwork for like close to zero cost and still pack them into packs as like premium artwork cards. Hello, Mortham, my dear. Mortham Koturma is apparently the username that YouTube has decided to display this time. Is that the like full name of the character, Mortham Koturma? I think that's got to be the first time I've seen that. Just like Kali is Kali Aranya.
4367 is apparently my model number.
Right. Long story, but so it's more complicated than simply yes, that's Mortham's last name. It's a fusion of you and 8 of your polycule members or something. It's like the names of your first 7 romantic partners in the first initial. Okay. Anyway, I should read some story now. We've been up 20 minutes jabbering about Magic the Gathering and making fun of Mortham. But Rain's model number is 372. Okay, yeah. Do you hope for the sanity of this? Yeah. Sprinkle them out carefully across the planet, and nobody would ever know, It would just be that, 8,000 different little microcosmic communities would have their odd little buddy who apologizes too much in their ranks. I mean, it could be that kind of thing that, sometimes people will say that, like, well, we all know one. We all know somebody like Roinicorn. Turns out that they are all actually Roinicorn.
Previous editions.
Previous editions, yeah. The Roinicorn, yeah, you are the refinement, the pinnacle. After 8,360 prior iterations, the latest refinement of the Roinicorn model, yeah.
And then you found out that it's a version 15,862
Oh
somewhere.
no! Curses! My rival. Yeah. Alright. Chapter 65 of the Sunnydale Imp. Tell us everything. So,
Just go.
Oh, okay. We, as I posted in the announcement for the stream and so on, we have wiped out most of the established villains. Sheridan and Keats, the 2 aspiring master vampires. Wait, was Keats actually? No, Keats was actually a master. Sheridan was a master's thrall, or master's underling, master's child, whatever. We've dusted them both. One of them off screen, one of them on. Mickey got both of them. And so we are in need of some new blood in the villain pool. Mergon, the broker demon, is still kicking around. Mergon successfully abducted Miki in an earlier chapter, sold off bits and pieces of her to the highest bidder. The highest bidder then got mulched by Zaradai imps that he summoned thinking that he was summoning and binding a succubus. Zaradai imps, turns out, cannot be bound to perform sexual favors for you, so they just ate him. Um, uh, but Mergon is still around and is going to recruit a couple of new villains to, for presumably Mickey to kill in the final 12 chapters. Yeah. Any other heads ups or reminders or previews you want to tell us, John, before I start reading the text?
Him that got summoned was Mickey's mum.
Oh, cute. Okay.
She's still knocking about. And yes, this is a 3-in-1 baddie
Okay.
that we're going to meet.
Okay, so we get them as a package. You know, Mergon does, traffic in eBay kind of things. So, get a sort of a 3-for-1 deal. Yeah. Master vampires are just ones that aren't fledglings anymore. The mooks that don't even get voiced lines and all seem to have a basic martial arts package downloaded into their brain. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So once you level up from and earn a name for the screen, yeah, sure. Alright, lunchtime found Mergon pacing his newly cleared chamber in seething fury. He'd sent messengers to find Sheridan, and they'd come back with bad news. The vampire had organized several local demon clans into a single force and used them to attack the Devil Girl. His Devil Girl. Was Sheridan trying to kill the girl, or steal her secrets before he could get to them? He'd never know, and it didn't matter, because Sheridan was missing, presumed dust, and instead of a conquering army, there was a huge pile of charred demon bones in the local football stadium. Damn it! Was she insane? What a waste. Still, it was a startling illustration of the girl's power. Even assuming she had help, it must have been an impressive battle, and presumably she hadn't come away completely unscathed. It all indicated that now was the perfect time to strike, while she was drained, weakened, and possibly even injured. He eyed the empty room appraisingly. He would have to explain the situation carefully when the portal opened. He didn't want to oversell the girl's abilities, but his guests were looking for a challenge, so maybe he should let them find out for themselves. Had they even mentioned it on the show? Why do they all know Kung Fu? Wasn't that guy on the school gymnastics team? Oh yeah, I think he was. He was hoping they would capture the girl for him, but he knew there was a good chance they would go for the kill instead. If she fought well, for example, they might elect to grant her an honorable death, and he wouldn't be able to stop them. It was a gamble. Buffy, Xander, and Willow tried to keep up as Mickey swept into the canteen, her wide eyes seeing the world with a new perspective. She threaded a path through the crowding students, marveling at her newly explained ability to predict the position of moving things. She quickly made her way to the counter and filled up a tray with burgers and fries. "What are the orange things?" she asked, pointing. "Fish sticks," replied the server. Mickey recoiled in horror, but Buffy prodded her shoulder. "Sticks," she said slowly. "Sticks made of fish." "Oh, right," Mickey chuckled. "I thought she—" Oops, apparently I was a she. "Yeah, I know what you thought." Well, in fairness, we do have somebody working on a Femme Adelath art commission, which should be interesting to see. If and when they... What was that?
Adelas.
Adelas, yes! Perfect. I love it. Yeah, that's... yeah, we'll see when it comes around. I had... The artist had been like, oh, I would really like to do some sketch commissions. Here, I'm opening up some sketch commissions. And so I'm like, oh, sure. I've got this idea kicking around. What do you think about this? She's really enthusiastic about it, but then I didn't hear anything about her for like a month and a half. So I poked her the other day, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I had some, I got busy. I was unwell for a little while, so but I still want to do it. So we'll see. Maybe it'll arrive by the end of the year. Maybe not. But look forward to it."
I have a picture from eons ago of Sabe
Yes.
as a girly
Yes,
Sabe.
yes. I love that a lot. You tapping into things that I had not even quite figured out yet by that that year of my life. But yes, no doubt, there were deep reasons why I found that artwork so appealing. Right. 15 minutes later, Mickey burst into the library like a tornado, instantly flooding Giles' quiet world of books and paper with noise and motion. Giles! Guess what I can do? He winced and gave her a withering scowl that had absolutely no effect whatsoever.
What?
He grated. The girl ran to the counter and stared at him with huge eyes. I can do differential calculars, she exclaimed. In my brain! Buffy followed in her wake, walking at a more sedate pace. It's true, she confirmed, smiling. But then, so can everybody, apparently. Giles already knew this. The mental gymnastics that allowed humans to foretell the motion of a moving object and move another object to intercept were all very clever, but they were also instinctive.
I see. And can you also do it outside of your brain?
Mickey shook her head. No, I'll stick with the built-in version. Less numbers. Buffy chuckled. That was one of the weirdest physics lessons I've ever sat through. Dr. Clark got so caught up explaining things to Mickey and went totally Britishism. Totally off-piste?
Off-piste.
Off-piste.
And you go skiing. And you just go exploring instead of going down the...
okay, so not a Britishism. A winter athletics term that I'd never encountered before. Off-piste. Okay. Like, the syllabus didn't get a look in. Funny thing, I had a conversation very similar to this with a friend of mine and the wife's about the fact that dogs can do this too. The whole like if you throw a frisbee for the dog and you kind of angle it out a ways and the dog will run out to intercept it, right? It's like, oh, the dogs can perform the calculus. The dogs can calculate the square root and the right? Yeah, just like we do. Yeah. Giles managed to smile in spite of himself. He could imagine the science teacher getting swept up in Imp's infectious enthusiasm. For all that she had no mind control powers, she nonetheless had an unearthly knack for swaying people to her point of view. Would Buffy be familiar with that term? She does go skiing with her dad at one point, I think. And, it's the sort of thing that, somebody might have just run across, like, if she as a kid had an interest in the Winter Olympics at some point, or in winter sports in general, and looked at some stuff about skiing, probably picked up the term. Yeah, I'm sure there's all sorts of odd little terminology that I randomly use that are not like commonplace from literature or science or computer programming. It's.
I think she was into figure skating at some point, but that might have just been some fan fiction background.
No, that sounds familiar to me too. Like, that it might have just been some throwaway line that was like a reference to the original Buffy movie or something. So oh man, I gotta watch that sometime. The original Buffy the Vampire Slayer kitsch B-horror movie. She was very into ice skating. Okay, yeah. I learned some really cool stuff today, insisted the imp. It turns out science can do incredible things, even though it's all just numbers and clever guessing.
I see. And you have it all in your brain, you say? Remarkable.
Oh, she went on a skating date with Angel? Aw, cute. Buffy narrowed her eyes. Speaking of things in your brain, she quickly scanned the library to be sure they were alone. What exactly is the deal with that code black thing? Mickey blinked. Deal? How do you mean? How does it work? What does it do? It's just a word. You say it, I do it. Buffy looked pained. But, does it matter who says it? Of course it does. I'm not a robot, you know. I can ignore it if I want. It's just a fast way of saying I should kill the bad guys instead of just beating them up. She shrugged. We have a code for it so they won't know how much trouble they're in. Plus, we're heroes, and it sounds kind of bad if somebody overhears you planning to kill people. Buffy and Giles both shuddered. Yeah, so, wait, you responded when I said it? You went absolutely crazy. No, I didn't. I was doing as you said. I thought you knew how to deal with the local monsters, so when you said I had to wipe them all out, I did it. I mean, I maybe would have done it anyway. I was in a bad mood. Cutting loose felt like a good idea. I didn't know that's what it meant. I thought it was some kind of secret superpower thing, so you'd power up into Super Mickey or something. The imp took a step back. I already am Super Mickey. I mean, geez, what more do you want? I just wanted you to be careful. Clearly I had the wrong code phrase. Mickey just shrugged, so she pressed on. Are there any... Oh, wait, never mind. Still
Buffy pressed on.
But Mickey just shrugged, so she pressed on. Are there any other code phrases? When it's really important, there's Code Black Alpha, which means we need to kill somebody, and it's super, super, super important that they die right now. She pulled a face. For end-of-the-world situations, you know? Do or die. Giles was aghast.
Sounds like a death sentence.
Well, yeah, for the other guy. It's not something we use very often. It's just good to have a code, so nobody can overhear what we're doing.
I see. And are those the only codes you use?
She nodded. What about a code that means be careful? Asked Buffy. Just say be careful. Why would we need a code for that? Yeah, that's actually a good point. Anyway, I'm just glad they're not hypnotic commands or anything. That would just be too creepy. Giles raised an eyebrow.
I honestly wondered if they might be something deeper. Something included as part of your nature.
Mickey blinked. Huh?
Your friend Verity has used magic to alter your very nature, also that you can better carry out her wishes. Made you into a weapon of sorts. A jack to wield against her enemies. Frankly, the arrogance astounds me. Just who does she think she is?
She's the goddess of truth and love? Creator of her own universe?
Ah, right, yes. I suppose that does confer some authority.
Verity knows what she's doing, and if she wants to use her power to make me more awesome, that's fine with me. I trust her completely. Buffy nodded. Yeah, Giles. Sometimes a higher power just needs a kick-ass teenage girl to do the heavy lifting. The librarian had the decency to blush a little.
That does sound familiar.
Mickey tilted her head. Oh, heavy lifting! That reminds me, I'm gonna go find Cordelia. She teleported to the door and yanked it open. I'll be back after lunch. Buffy raised a hand. Too late. The door was already swinging closed. Wait? She frowned at Giles.
What do you suppose she means by that?
I wonder if that's supposed to be the other way around. What do you suppose she means?
Those two lines could be either way, couldn't they?
Yeah. Although I don't know, daren't. I daren't even speculate. That doesn't sound very Buffy. That sounds a lot more Giles. Anyway, somebody says, I daren't even speculate. Cordelia was out on the field with her friends. The squad, as she called them. They were all in uniform, which was cool, and they were practicing their shouty, chanty dance moves. It was almost hypnotic. Mickey sat herself down on the grass to watch the girls go through their warm-up routines. She'd never seen mages need to do a warm-up, but then again, she'd never seen magic that required so much jumping around. Most of the mages she knew of were lazy, so this could be a whole new type of magic that nobody back home knew about. One of the girls spotted her watching and went over to whisper something in Cordy's ear. Cordy nodded something like thanks and wandered over, leaving the girls to do their own thing for a bit. Hey there, smiled the taller girl. Hi, Cordy, replied Mickey, waving. Gonna do some magic today? No. Just cheer practice. Mickey tilted her head. It's okay. I won't tell anybody if it's a secret. I just want to see what it does. Cordelia blinked. Just what exactly do you think we're doing here? Casting a spell, obviously. Chanting, dancing, ceremonial garb. I know a ritual when I see one. It's not a ritual. It's a tradition. And it's not magic. It helps the teams play better? Of course. Mickey nodded sagely. Sounds like magic to me. I've seen people do similar stuff before. I promise I won't interfere with it. I just want to see how it feels. I'm carrying a whole pile of the local magic right now, so I should be able to sense what you're doing. Cordy rolled her eyes. We're not doing any... Wait. Local magic? You mean from the... She dropped her voice to a whisper. The you-know-what? Huh? Oh yeah, it's a trick I can do. I absorb magic. Once I get a taste of something, it gets easier. Raw magic's the easiest, like the, She glanced toward the school building and licked her lips. The local magic thingy. Right, well, cheering isn't magic. The boys just play better when we're out there cheering them on. It's psychology. You know, science. Mickey's jaw dropped. More science in action. And this time it was doing the same stuff that magic would normally do. Her mind reeled. Not only did science do magic, but Cordelia's girls had learned how to do science using a physical ritual. It wasn't just all about numbers and lines and computers and chemicals. There's way more to this than I thought, she whispered. Yeah, it's hard work. Mickey rummaged in her bag and dug out her workbook. You go do your thing. I'm gonna take notes. The girls finished their complex, heavily coordinated dance and scurried back toward the school. Seconds later, Mickey heard the bell, ringing to say that lunchtime was over and afternoon classes were starting. Mickey got up and followed the girls at a distance, walking slowly. She wasn't going back to classes this afternoon. Her brain was already full to bursting with possibilities. Science, magic, power. Knowledge really was power. Not just knowledge like how to kill stuff. This was knowledge that affected the world and explained why stuff happened. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that Jack already had this power. He could do numbers. He could do science. He knew all kinds of stuff, about all kinds of stuff. And Mickey didn't. Not yet. When she got back home, she was going to have a word with Verity. In the meantime, knowledge wasn't the only thing that was power. Power was power. And she wanted more. She wanted to know how much she could grab before it ran out, or before she couldn't hold anymore. She'd never hit her limit yet. Call it an experiment. For science. Go ahead.
They're just chanting science.
Oh. I'm a disciple of science. I know the universe is in full compliance with natural laws. Okay. Right. Mergon's earlier fury had settled to a low, smoldering heat. He was angry at Sheridan, but there was nothing to be done about that because she was most likely already dead. With no useful way to vent his frustration, he paced the perimeter of the portal space. His contacts had sent him precise instructions regarding the destination point for his guest's arrival. Their peculiar circumstances required the creation of a specially constructed portal, and in order to secure the endpoint, he had been obliged to inscribe the floor with some complex sigils. The Valnite Hive clans were sending their Gestalt champion, the Trine, and they weren't taking any chances. The portal would open at precisely 4 minutes past 1. If the markings were not correct, or if anything interfered with the destination point, the portal would not open, but Mergon would still owe reparations. The Valnites were extremely picky about rules and contracts, as well as punctuality. Mergon checked his watch and counted down the seconds, unsure where to stand in order to greet the Trine when when the portal opened. He didn't know which way it would face, and they might react badly if they emerged to find him standing behind them. He decided to stand in the doorway, far enough away that they couldn't suspect him of foul play, and also out of arm's reach. He heard a faint keening sound, and glanced again at his watch. Right on time, a hazy light flickered in the middle of the chamber, directly over the markings. A swirling vortex of dirty yellow-orange ripples, dull, sickly, and unpleasant. Like a toilet bowl full of vomit, he thought distastefully. The vortex swirled and rippled in the air, growing steadily larger and larger, and Mergon began to wonder how large it was going to get. Were they planning to drive a car through it? He was certain he'd allocated enough space, but if it didn't stop, it was going to touch the walls or even the ceiling. Thankfully, the expansion slowed to a halt, and the vortex settled down somewhat, a floating disk of puke-colored light, looming half again the height of a man. Mergon was pleased to note that all the light was being emitted in his direction, so presumably the Trine would be facing him when they emerged. And emerge they did. A slender female figure stepped through, ready for trouble. This was Mayhew, the huntress. She scanned the room for threats, snapping open a pair of folding blades. The weapons were long, saw-toothed blades as long as his forearm, angled like a kama or scythe. A second later, finding no threats, the woman flicked the blades closed and hung them on her belt. She looked almost human, like Mergon's own demon form, yellow-skinned with a suit of segmented green armor that looked like a form-fitting exoskeleton. She wore a long, loose cloak of brown leather, complete with a hood. Her eyes were blank orbs of glossy amber, but even so, he could tell she was watching him carefully. She stepped aside, and a second figure emerged. A male this time, skeletally thin and apparently unarmed. Blick, the mage. He was draped in an ornate robe, with tall shoulder pads and a stiff collar. His skin was a pale, glossy beige material, and his eyes were black. He had no hair, but a twitching cluster of stick-like antennae protruded from his chin like a nightmarish beard. Significantly, he was hovering a few inches off the ground, and he slid clear of the portal without moving a muscle, making way for the final member of the group. A hulking shadow hove into view, and Mergon immediately understood why the portal was larger than human-sized. Grux, the brute, was easily 8 feet tall, and close to 4 feet wide at the shoulder, completely encased in thick plates of dark green chitin. His face was a slab-sided prow of armor with no visible features, just a blank, brutal mass. Mergon wondered how the creature communicated. His mighty fists didn't seem especially dexterous, so sign language wasn't an option. Perhaps the Valnites used chemical signaling. Then again, he realized, since the Trine were a Gestalt entity, perhaps they were telepathically linked. The three exchanged looks, then moved forward to stand around Mergon in a semicircle. He smiled faintly, keeping his teeth hidden. Mayhew hissed. Blick spoke a heartbeat later, the same thought, but in English.
Tell us everything.
Alright, that's chapter 65 done. Quick swig of my drink, and then we will continue to the hallowed 66. Yeah, so chapter 66, My Brain is Full. Giles suppressed a groan as Mickey returned to the library.
Aren't you supposed to be attending classes?
He asked. The imp shook her head, then put her hands on her temples. I've already learned loads today. I think my brain is full. Giles blinked.
That's not... You don't mean that literally, I hope.
Mickey walked over and sat at her usual position by the table. I just mean I've learned a lot of new stuff, and I need to make sense of it. I don't want to forget it, or get it muddled up.
That's very wise.
Commented Giles, walking out from the counter.
Is this just the calculus, or something else?
Science, she replied, staring up at him. I think it's actually just another way of doing the same things magic does. Like, it's not magic, but it's maybe next to magic.
Equivalent results by different methods?
He suggested. Yeah, like they're sisters or something. They both want to do the same things, but they go about it different. The librarian smiled and pulled himself a seat at the table.
An interesting hypothesis. Do go on.
We're going into the was it the Arthur C. Clarke saying? I think it was Clarke, right?
Any suitably complicated magic is indistinguishable from science.
Or the other way around, yeah. Well, it's got me thinking, she began. Science is just everything that's not magic. If I glue two things together, that's science. It's not magic, but that's something we have back in hell. Demons and devils do science stuff without realizing it. They have machines, and some of them are magically enhanced or whatever, but machines are science things.
Right?
So what if, in this world, some of the things people do, assuming it's science, are actually magic?
A fascinating possibility. Can you suggest any examples?
The times when a mom can pick up a car because her baby's underneath it. Back on Verity's world, that's obviously magic, because Verity will totally step in and help in a situation like that. But here, that shouldn't be possible, right?
It's long been known that the human body has untapped potential.
No, it hasn't. Human bodies are just bags of meat and blood and bones and snot. If you're already trying your hardest, that should be the limit. If it's possible to do better, then that means you weren't trying your hardest. She hesitated. Right?
I suppose that's technically true.
You guys have little rituals and things to ask for good luck, or to ward off bad luck. If something goes well, you try to do it the same way, including details that don't matter, like lucky pants or whatever. That's how items get imbued and become magical.
Really?
Giles straightened a little. Now that was an avenue worth investigating. You guys know there's no such thing as luck, right? It's just a word for stuff that happens. The only way to affect the odds is to do something different, or to cheat.
I suppose that's logically true, yes.
He frowned at the girl. Since when did Mickey do logic? Oh, that's actually a canon thing in Buffyverse. Things like androids and cyborgs can be built only on or near the Hellmouth because... Okay. Because science becomes magic-y around there. Okay. Moloch's robot body, Ted the android boyfriend, Robo-Buffy... Yeah, okay. So, I was thinking, same as how magic people do science stuff without realizing it, maybe non-magic people do magic without realizing it. Giles found himself nodding.
That's quite possible. The supernatural world certainly affects us more than most people would realize.
But, she held up a finger, what if they're the same thing?
You mean, what if science is just a type of magic, and vice versa?
Yeah, think about it. They both follow their own rules, but they don't normally touch. What if you could mix them up? Cast a spell to make a computer think faster. Or use robots to mix potions and create magic circles that are totally perfect. Who says certain people aren't already doing that? Asked Jenny, surprising them both. Giles contained his momentary alarm at being overheard and realized that Miss Calendar called herself a techno-pagan. He'd never fully understood what that meant until Mickey's childish reasoning discovered the concept by working from first principles. Out of the mouths of babes, he mused. Jenny strode over to the library's computer terminal, looking pleased with herself. She pressed a key to wake the machine, tapped out some sequences, then wandered toward the bemused pair. She gave Giles a bright smile before going in for the kill. By basic definition, magic is a form of technology and the study of magic is a science. Because science is just the study of things and technology is just tools. Yeah, as we were going through this dialogue, I was thinking, wait, do science and magic really strive for the same ends? I mean, science doesn't normally look to like summon demons or, contact angels or whatever, but I guess, theoretical transdimensional physics or something, like positing
if
the
you're summoning
existence.
a demon to do a job, that job could be done by science. If you
Right.
want somebody dead, you could use science and metallurgy to build yourself a gun and shoot them, or you can summon a demon and just tear all the flesh off the bones.
True.
Different approach.
Did you know that Willow Rosenberg hacked the school administration database from here in the library?
I try to know as little as possible about those machines, as well you know.
He chose misdirection instead of outright denial.
That said, she claimed you had given tacit permission.
Mickey sat up straighter. Seize power when you can! Jenny shook her head, still smiling. I did. And I suppose I should be more careful. A lesson for both of us, then. When you see her, let her know I found her fake admin account and removed it. There's only room for one queen in this network. Giles nodded slowly.
I see. Is she in trouble?
She would be, if I reported it. But then people would know I slipped up, and we can't have that. No harm, no foul? Suggested Mickey. Yes, this time. But only because she didn't do anything with it. It takes a lot of restraint to seize power and not use it. Giles frowned. With everything that had been going on since then, he doubted Willow had found time to explore her new access privileges.
Oh, it wasn't a test.
Jenny shook her head again. Nope. Genuine mistake. And she caught me out, which I suppose I deserve. Giles adjusted his glasses and was about to reply when a student poked her head in through the doors. Mr. Giles? He frowned.
Yes?
The girl scurried over and passed him a printed memo. Snyder was calling a brief emergency meeting in the faculty lounge, and his presence was required. He rolled his eyes and hesitated. Did he dare leave Makisha alone in the library, unsupervised? What was the worst that could happen? He immediately berated himself for even thinking the question.
I'm afraid I have to leave you here for a little while. We're needed in the faculty lounge.
He rolled his eyes at Ms. Callender, who chuckled.
We'll have to continue this discussion when I return. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Mickey shrugged. Okay.
You have your book? Or some schoolwork to do?
At this point in the timeline, Willow is better at computering than Jenny, and Jenny is better at magicking. And then Willow basically forgets computers entirely and gets better at magic than anyone. Right.
And Jenny gets dead.
Yeah, alas. A friend of mine actually named herself after Willow in admiration of her might. She nodded. I got the book.
Right, well, try not to get into any trouble before I get back.
The imp just smiled. I'll be fine. Giles had severe misgivings, but there wasn't much he could say with another student in earshot.
If anybody asks, I'll be back as soon as possible.
And with that, he and Ms. Callender hurried off to the faculty lounge. Hopefully, he could invent a reason to leave quickly. The student watched the librarian hurry off. So, you're the new kid, huh? How are you finding America? Oh no. Also, at some point, magic is retconned into being a ham-fisted drug allegory for the sole sake of a very special episode. Oh dear. Mickey shrugged. It's pretty fun so far. Some things are confusing, but I'm getting the hang of it. I heard you're hanging out with a bunch of losers. Huh? Summers, Rosenberg, and Harris? Huh? Oh. But I've also heard that Kyle DeForest and his crew think you're some kind of big deal, or whatever, and Cordelia Chase seems to think you're cool. Mickey just shrugged again. I'm good at making friends. Yeah, right. Including Principal Snyder? Mickey smiled. He's cool, but it's like a secret kind of cool. Oh, what? He's cool with you, but he's a total troll to the rest of us? Yeah. That's messed up. The girl looked miserable, but not surprised. How about Larry Bladell? Are you two really dating? Huh? Dating? With Larry? No, we're just friends. Just friends? With Larry Bladell? The girl sounded surprised, and Mickey wasn't sure why. Well, yeah, he's been really nice to me. She smiled, then blinked. Larry did sports. She could ask him about the cheerleaders. In fact, she could ask this girl about the cheerleaders too. So she did. Do you think cheerleaders are important to sports? She asked. Huh? Cheerleaders? Important? More like self-important. They're a bunch of obnoxious bitches. And the football team are all jerks too. Including, no, especially Larry Bladell. You ask me, they deserve each other. And with that baffling outburst, the girl turned and headed for the door. Mickey nodded to herself. Well, that didn't help. I'll go find Larry later. Meanwhile, since Giles isn't back yet. She closed her book and turned toward the cage, a thoughtful glint in her eyes.
The girl is dangerous.
Mergon paced slowly around the room, watched carefully by Blick the demonic mage. Mayhew lay casually by the stairs, her attention flitting around the room, constantly scanning for threats or targets. Yeah, goodbye, random student with no stated name. Ascended extra. But only by one step. Grox stood in silence. Mergon had no idea if the armored giant was paying him any attention at all. It didn't seem to have ears, eyes, or any kind of face at all. The front of its head looked like a single thick piece of organic armor, with no seams or openings of any kind, and he wondered once again if it could speak. Never mind communication. How does it eat? Mayhew yawned. Your definition of dangerous does not match ours. Mergon bristled slightly, but kept himself calm. It would be unwise to annoy his guests at this stage.
Master Vampire's been assembling a demonic army in the tunnels beneath the town. Last night the army was mobilized with the goal of destroying the girl.
Mayhew sat up straighter, her eyes glittering with interest. They failed?
The force was wiped out. A total loss with no survivors.
Blick floated forward slightly, looking thoughtful. She was alone? Mergon frowned.
Possible but unlikely. He is allied with a vampire slayer, who is herself allied with Angelus.
And what is this Angelus?
A master vampire. Formidable, but cursed with a human soul, and fighting for the other side. It's possible both he and the Slayer fought alongside the girl last night.
Grux made a rumble deep within the armor, and Blick nodded. It is nonetheless a significant victory. You will tell us how she fights. Mergon smiled.
I can do better than that. I can show you.
Do so.
I have videotapes.
The demons didn't appear to recognize the words, so he hastily explained.
Technological projections. I have a machine at my home that will show you the recordings.
Mayhew quickly got to her feet. Lead the way. Mergon had no intention of letting the three demons walk, or float, across Sunnydale in broad daylight. Luckily, he had a decent-sized panel van, unmarked and nondescript, large enough to fit Grux into the back, provided the brute hunched up a little. It looked like there might be an issue stepping up into the vehicle, but they managed, and soon enough they arrived at Mergon's apartment, where fortunately nobody was around to see the odd-looking trio. He led Mayhew and Blick into the living room, but Grux waited silently at the door. He was both too tall and too wide to fit inside, and Mergon experienced a moment of panic as he stared at the dark green behemoth.
This could be a problem,
He said, thinking aloud. Grux vanished, and an instant later Blick hovered in his place. Mergon took a step back, startled.
What?
He turned and saw Grux looming in the center of the room.
How?
he asked as Blick hovered past him. The mage gestured at the door, and it swung closed behind him.
Translocation. We three are linked, and I can use the link to exchange our positions and make the best use of our individual talents.
Mergon slowly nodded.
The girl can teleport. Short range but instantaneous, and frequent.
He allowed himself a smile. The little bitch would get a shock if she teleported between opponents and found they could switch around just as quickly.
It will not matter,
intoned Blick. Can she fly? Asked Mayhew. You mentioned she had wings.
No, she can't fly. They're too small, and she apparently needs a spell to empower them.
A pity. Mayhew shrugged, and 4 insectoid wings flickered at her back, before folding away into her cloak. I would enjoy an aerial battle. Mergon shrugged.
Come on, let me show you the tapes.
Giles found the faculty lounge about a quarter full. Whatever the emergency was, Snyder hadn't dared call all the teachers out of their classes. He was probably going to make his announcement in groups. Either that or his message was for this group specifically. Giles didn't like that idea very much, and studied the room, looking for any link between the assembled staff.
Right.
Snyder entered the room and began proceedings with his usual lack of warmth.
I'm not going to keep you long, since most of you have work to be doing. I'm sure by now you've heard about the student prank at the football stadium last night. The mayor has personally pledged to find out who's responsible, so I'm asking each of you to keep your eyes and ears open. Someone knows something, and the sooner we find and punish these delinquents, the better for everybody.
You think it was some of our students?
Somebody asked.
I wouldn't be... Uh-oh. There. I wouldn't be especially surprised if it was,
replied the principal.
On a different note, Makisha Nichols
Giles took a sharp breath.
tells me she's learned a great deal from the classes she's visited, and she's asked me to thank you all for your patience.
He hesitated.
I wouldn't normally entertain such a disruption, but it's an opportunity to show the rest of the world what a fine educational establishment I'm running. Yes, well, that's all. Back to your classes.
Snyder turned to leave, then paused and turned back as if remembered something.
One more thing. Ms. Griggs. Miss Nichols has signed the appropriate waivers, and from now on she won't be requiring supervision from the PT staff.
And with that, he turned and bustled back out of the room. Giles stared at the man's back as he left. That was it? Keep an eye out for rumors and thanks for teaching Mickey? He shook his head as the room returned to its usual murmur of chatter.
What an unutterable troll.
He muttered, drawing a sympathetic glance from one of the teachers. Giles blushed. He hadn't meant to say that out loud, and hurried back to the library. Giles paused at the library door to glance at his wristwatch. 15 minutes, give or take. Surely the girl couldn't get up to much mischief in a quarter of an hour? Well, obviously she could, but he dearly hoped she hadn't. He prepared for the worst and pushed the doors open. Makisha looked up from her book and gave him a little wave. Hey, Giles! He gave her a small nod and walked past her to the office. Something was subtly wrong somehow. He could feel it like a sixth sense, but he couldn't put a finger on it.
Did I miss anything
He called out.
while I was away?
Nope.
Nothing out of the ordinary happened?
Nuh-uh. The keys to the cage were still in his desk drawer, where he'd left them. Of course, the cage wasn't a solid barrier, so Makisha could teleport right through it. She'd pointed that out herself when he'd locked away her rug with its magic circle. Mickey didn't move as he passed her again on his way to the cage, but her ears twitched, tracking his movement. The ears have
He,
have he, her pronouns. Yeah. I named this one after Jack. Anyway.
Oh, I've lost my spot on the page now.
No,
with
that's
bafflement.
okay. She knew exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
She knew exactly where he was going and was acting unnaturally nonchalant, suspiciously so. A faint smell of burning had reached him as he approached the lockup, and he frowned. It didn't smell like a paper fire or even wood. It smelled like somebody had tried to burn a cheap nylon rug. Mickey suddenly sprang up and stuffed her book into a backpack. Well, that's enough reading for today. I'd better go find a class and do some learning. Okay, thanks. Bye. See you later. Giles raised a finger to protest, but Mickey blinked herself straight to the door and scampered away before he could form a sentence. Damn it, what's she done? She wasn't unconscious, so she couldn't have used the rug. But then why could he smell it smoldering? Perhaps the circle had lost some of its viability, its output diminished to a safer level? Or perhaps the circle was still channeling energy because of its proximity to the Hellmouth, in which case it could be about to spontaneously combust. Cursing, Giles unlocked the cage. He'd have to cut the bloody thing into pieces before it did any damage. Mickey hummed to herself as she skipped along the corridor. The magic circle was way weaker now, with the sigils all burned and smudgy, but she'd still got a nice big gulp of magic, and she hadn't even fallen asleep this time. It had been a risky move, but she'd been extra careful about how much she pulled in. Surprisingly, even with the broken sigils, she'd managed to scoop up quite a lot of magic. She must be getting better at it with practice. That seemed to be how her power worked, after all. Maybe after a few more tries, she wouldn't need the circle at all. That would be cool. Then maybe she could drain the whole thing. Save the town from monsters forever. Okay.
That's a great idea. I endorse it completely.
Chapter 67. Understanding. Larry! The sweet little voice with the weird accent cut through the cafeteria's background noise, and Larry nodded at his buddies. Give me a minute, guys. Jake did his damsel in distress impression, adding a terrible accent. Clary! Oh, you got it. Yeah, nice. Go for it.
I'll do that. You can do Leon if you like.
Okay.
It's the Munchkin.
Drawled Leon.
Yeah.
Agreed Jake.
So have you munched it yet, or what?
Larry cringed inwardly and rolled his eyes.
Come on, guys. Clear off and give us space, huh?
The chuckling boys grudgingly wandered away, and not a second too soon as Mickey playfully crept up behind Larry and grabbed his elbow. Found ya! She announced, making him smile.
Hey.
You got a minute? I need to talk to you. She dropped her voice to a whisper. About sports.
Uh-huh. Okay. What do you need to know?
I want to know what you think of cheerleaders. Well, that was a complicated subject. Larry froze, unsure how to respond.
What I think? In what way? I mean, they're hot, obviously. Why?
Mickey's expression was intense. Do they help you play? He blinked.
You mean all the dances and the tiny uniforms and stuff?
Mickey nodded.
Hell no, not really. I mean, yeah, hot girls bouncing around is cool and all, and yeah, it's all designed to be eye-catching. That's not for the teams. If we were staring at the girls all the time, we'd suck at the game.
He shrugged.
If anything, they're kind of distracting.
Mickey pulled a face. Clearly, this wasn't the answer she was expecting. Larry wondered if she was thinking of joining the squad.
The cheerleaders are there for the crowds,
He explained.
they make the crowd cheer louder. That's why they're called that. They lead the cheering. See?
Okay. So the cheerleader dance somehow magically makes the crowd louder.
What? No. I mean, sort of. But not magic, obviously. It gives the crowd something to focus on when the game slows down, and the girls get them all shouting the same things at the same time, so it feels louder. The crowd shouting, all fired up, that helps us play.
It does? Oh, I mean, yeah, obviously. That's just psychology, right? Science.
Yeah, precisely. It takes a lot to get the absolute best out of a team. The coach is always asking us for 110% all the time. That's crazy.
It is?
Yeah, you can't give more than 100%, right? That's not possible. 100 is the max.
But with the cheering?
When the girls time it right, get the crowd really going wild at just the right moment, that's when we can go the extra mile, give that extra 10%, right when it counts. That can win us the game.
The videotape came to an end, and the picture dissolved into static. Mergon switched off the TV using the remote, and the Volnite mage, Blick, turned his jet black eyes on his host. Just realizing, backing up to the previous scene, that basically is Larry confirming Mickey's theory about the mom in the car, right?
The extra 10%.
Yeah.
But it's magic
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
That is all?
He asked mildly. He was sitting cross-legged directly in front of the screen. That is, if your definition of sitting meant hovering a foot above the cushions. Mergon sighed.
What? You have some of the girl's memories, adventures viewed from her own eyes. What more do you want?
He glanced at the others for support, but of course Grux was completely impassive, and Mayhew was utterly disinterested. The Huntress was sprawled across his couch, the spikes and edges of her armor inflicting irreparable damage to the leather as she finished off yet another bowl of chips. She held out her hand and let the bowl drop onto the carpet. Thankfully, this one was plastic and didn't shatter. If you have more food, I would partake of it. He stooped and picked up the bowl without a word. Mayhew had been eating non-stop for most of the past hour, and he was completely out of snacks. He stood for a moment, wondering how to break the news without risking his life. He had to keep these three under wraps until it went dark. He could probably entertain Blick with some TV shows or examples of human technology, and Grux? He didn't look like the sort to get bored. But Mayhew, she was looking at him with her glistening amber eyes, hungrily. He rolled his eyes.
Cook something.
He grumbled. No way I can order takeout with this lot in my living room. Blick rose to his feet and followed Mergon into the kitchen.
We have seen enough. We will capture the girl.
Mergon blinked.
Oh, that's excellent news.
We will take her back to the Valnite Hive for understanding.
That sounded ominous.
What form does understanding take?
The mage shrugged. She will be consumed by our queen, dissolved into vital acids, and integrated into a slave mind for questioning.
Oh, that sounds thorough.
Damn it, they were going to leave him with nothing. Of course. It is a perfected method. We also claim the right to kill the Slayer, called out Mayhew. This will be compensation for our assistance in this capture. Blick nodded. We are not usually sent to capture. We prefer to kill our targets.
There's also the vampire, Angelus, if you're hungry for violence.
Mayhew's chuckle filled the room. Hungry for violence. I like these words. The mid-afternoon break found Xander, Buffy, and Willow congregating in the library as usual. Makisha was already there, sat at a desk in the corner, studying a novel with rapt attention.
Oh, wow, Giles.
Drawled Xander.
You get her reading an actual book? For fun?
The librarian scowled, but nodded.
Yes, although I'm not entirely sure what's caught her attention.
Buffy narrowed her eyes at him. You suspect something, though. You've got worry face. Willow approached the desk. Hey there, Mickey. You're taking notes? Mickey blinked and snatched the page away, covering it with her arms. Nothing! She blurted. Xander laughed.
Well, that sounded completely normal.
Buffy chuckled. Not remotely worrisome, huh, Giles? Giles sighed.
Yes, she's taking notes, but she won't let me read them, and she's writing them in Enochian script.
No, I'm not, called out Mickey. It's dark script. Giles coughed into his hand.
Right, of course.
Buffy rolled her eyes at him. Don't forget, those pointy ears aren't just for show. Mickey dropped her paper back onto the desk with a soft clump and turned to face them. I'm learning about your culture, and I'm making notes on anything I think is important. It's called research. Scientists do it all the time. Xander chuckled, not unkindly.
Yeah, but you're no scientist.
I'm young and clever and pretty, and I've got superpowers. I can be whatever I want, and if I want to learn science stuff, I will. Giles let out a low groan.
Makisha has a theory that science is an alternative form of magic.
Buffy blinked. What's that mean? She wants to learn how to absorb science? Mickey's jaw dropped, and her eyes grew comically wide. Is that a thing? Wait. What's the science equivalent of power? That would be also power? Willow offered, a little uncertain. Or energy, maybe? Oh, right. Well, that's perfect. I'm an energizer. It's one of my mutant powers. So I should be able to learn that. Where do people in this world keep all the energy? Ah, yes. Hi, Evo. Yeah, we were talking a bit about that earlier. I think that was the Arthur C. Clarke quote. Yeah. Buffy made mouth-zipping motions before anybody could reply. Ixnay on the hour patience day, she hissed. Mickey blinked. Huh? What was that? What was what? I think you said Ixion Diopassion? Outpatient? The imp's expression was pure confusion. Was it a spell? No, it was... Buffy shot a glance at Willow. I didn't really think it would work. Willow pursed her lips. Anke uye understand ime? Mickey's eyes lit with a glimmer of recognition, then she bit her lip, frustrated. I don't get it. What are you saying? Giles hurried around from behind the counter.
Fascinating.
He enthused.
A pseudo-language that your enchantment cannot understand. How is this possible?
I don't know. You're sure that's a language?
Of a sort. It's called Pig Latin.
Yeah, because Pig Latin isn't a real language. Yeah, it's just mangled English. So
Language.
so it comes out, it gets translated through in English or, the equivalent, and mangles it the same way, I guess. The imp pulled a face. Pigs don't speak Latin? She hesitated. Pigs don't even speak, do they?
No, that's just the name. Let's try something else.
He cleared his throat.
Would you, Adam and Eve? This here twist and twirl's got an alderman's nail and right sharp Bexley Heath. Come and have a butcher's, but don't say a dicky word or she'll bust your boat race.
Brilliant. The room fell silent, and Giles found himself the subject of several horrified stares.
I think our Giles is broken.
Commented Xander after a moment.
He looks the same, but he sounds somehow different. I can't quite put my finger on it. That was Cockney rhyming slang, you ignoramus. I was experimenting to see if Makisha's linguistic ability extends to deliberate obfuscation.
Buffy tilted her head. Deliberate what now? Giles sighed.
Speech that's deliberately difficult to understand, much like your own.
Hey, my speechifying is just fine. Very much with the fineness. Oh no, English. I don't know that it's like one could straightforwardly speak in English. Like the English just refers to a particular style of sort of or kind of, I guess, a set of common mistakes, or again, not even common, but mistakes found in usually commercial East Asian products that try to employ English. At least that's the context where I first heard the term.
Yeah, Mickey's spell would be absolutely fine with that.
Yeah.
You can switch languages mid-sentence and she's not bothered.
Yeah.
But it picks up the intent. So if you don't want her to understand, she doesn't.
Mickey was close to panicking. Her language spell was breaking down. This was impossible. Farady's spells didn't just stop working. Maybe I broke it with the channeling circle? Maybe this much evil magic is messing it up? Is that a thing? It's never happened before, but this could be different. She closed her eyes and tried to think. She could speak English pretty well, and could follow most of the conversation. Buffy and Willow were saying things in the Iggly-Piggly language, and Giles was trying to teach Xander to understand whatever that mishmash of nonsense words was supposed to be. Worst case scenario, if the spell broke down completely, she'd still be able to communicate with the people here, so she didn't need to freak out. Yet. Still, it was weird and deeply unsettling.
Oh, plates means feet?
Asked Xander.
That's crazy. Yes.
Agreed Giles.
And deliberately so. More than slang, it's a secret dialect intended to defeat spies and eavesdroppers. Different groups developed their own substitutions, and before long, no two groups spoke the same dialect.
He glanced at Makisha, who looked stunned.
I suspect the deliberate obfuscation is the reason Makisha's spell cannot or will not translate our words.
The scene itself is explaining that, right, Nicole? The imp looked up in surprise. Huh? The librarian smiled, rather proud of himself.
In light of this new information, it seems logical to assume the spell simply picks up what we're trying to say when we want to be understood. When we don't want to be understood, the spell doesn't trigger.
Buffy sat on the table. Confusing much? I can't tell if that's of the good or just plain sucky.
It means you can talk the way you do, and Mickey can understand you, even if I myself cannot, while she finds your pig Latin to be impenetrable gibberish.
The imp blinked. My spell's not broken?
I believe not.
This is how it's supposed to work? She
I can only
echoed,
assume so. Oops, sorry.
incredulous.
I can only assume so. Without asking Verity herself, we can never know for sure, but yes, it seems likely. The spell only triggers when people want to be understood.
Yeah, basically, if you're saying, like, I think it would be difficult to just, like, speak normally, but I don't want that person over there to understand me. Like, there's probably, I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody could pull it off with enough mental discipline, but like, it's why the spell doesn't in itself pierce lies. For instance, like, if somebody's lying to you, they're using a certain set of words, but that they want you to believe, but it's not what they're actually thinking, right? Or it's not what they know to be true. The spell just translates the intent of the language, not the, it doesn't pierce through to the truth of the matter, or communicate the fact that the person talking to you is hiding something.
There were some bits in a previous chapter with the French lesson where I've actually reordered some of the words subtly to be a better translation of what the French is saying.
No,
it's like the common table 2, what's your name?
Right.
But it isn't what's your name, it's what do you call yourself?
Mm-hmm.
It's how do you identify yourself? It's a lot deeper than just what's your name. When you taught it parrot fashion without actually breaking down the words, like s'il vous plaît means please, but s'il vous plaît is like, it's literally a, if you please.
Yeah.
If you would please me.
Well, Brightcorn, but they were specifically didn't want Mickey to understand that, and Mickey's the one with the spell on her. So it doesn't matter that they were trying to communicate things to one another. The person with the spell active is Mickey, and they didn't want Mickey to understand it. So,
plus Willow's already got a spell to interpret Pig Latin. Pre-programmed.
She thought about that for a long moment. Oh. Giles noticed Buffy glaring daggers at him and wondered what the problem was. Oh, of course. She had used Pig Latin in an attempt to derail the conversation to stop Mickey asking about power stations. She'd certainly done that, but now the imp might ask what the code was and how it worked. My brain's totally full now, announced Mickey. I'm gonna go home and lie down. Buffy blinked at that. Meet up at the Bronze later? You up for some bronzage? The Bronze Age? No,
yeah, it's really awkward to write, isn't it?
Yeah.
You up for the Bronze Age? Yeah, I'll see you 65,000 years ago.
Yeah. Mickey nodded. Yeah, I'll be there. Okay, cool. Meet us at, I'll swing by and
Mickey
pick
was
you up.
asking if she could absorb power. Sorry, I thought we dropped that.
Okay.
So I was confused.
No, go ahead. Finish.
So just answering Roinicorn, Mickey was asking where power was kept, wondering if she could absorb it, and Buffy was like, don't tell her about power stations. You don't want to go and try and grab hold of a power lead.
Right. Don't want Mickey going over to, the local transformer and just being like, all right, I'm going to absorb the energy. Or, dunking herself in a nuclear reactor or something. Electrical outlets. Just sticking her finger in the outlet. Yeah, bzz. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Okay, cool. Meet us at, I'll swing by and pick you up my way there. How's that? Okay. They watched in silence as the imp scooped up her stuff and teleported to the door. A second later, she pushed the door open and was gone. Giles adjusted his glasses.
I do wish you wouldn't do that. Somebody's sure to notice her popping about the place.
Rhinocorn... You're thinking about it way too hard, as usual, but Buffy was not in that moment, thinking about the fact that Mickey has a spell. She was doing a thing. She was basically speaking English with an intent to obscure. That's all it needed. She's got her normality illusion, though, Willow pointed out. So maybe they assume it's normal, like she walked up to them and they didn't notice, so they're surprised, but for regular reasons, not because she teleported. Xander nodded.
We don't really know how effective that thing is. When it's working, we don't know we're being affected, and when it's not, we don't know what other people are seeing.
Buffy shot him a glare. Or when some of us are pretending to see the illusion but aren't. He had the decency to blush.
True, I've never seen her looking human. She was in little monster mode from the get-go. Still, your makeup effort looked good, I thought. Especially since you've never actually seen her looking human either.
Willow shook her head. I've sort of gotten used to her as she really is. It's only been a few days and already I don't really notice the horns and stuff. Is that weird? Mickey's journey home was short and uneventful. She dropped her school gear on the ground and flopped under her bed, arms and legs spread wide. Science, she thought. One more thing to add to my list. I'm gonna figure it out, understand how it works, and learn to use it for myself. Everything was power, magic, science, knowledge. Mickey could channel it all, she was sure. And if she could combine several different sources, the possibilities were infinite. Infinite possibilities was a lot. She sat up. She wasn't sleepy, and she had a few hours to kill. Buffy wouldn't be coming by until it went dark. She tidied her school stuff away, then nominated a new rug to make a bigger, better magic circle, with more safety precautions. She needed to find a more permanent, more accurate way to mark the glyphs as well, and she had a few ideas. For starters, she picked a sturdier, less flexible rug, with a tough woven back and tight, stubby fibers. She could draw the basic layout with her magic markers, so they'd dye the wool, but then she was going to pick up a tube of thick sealant or something and trace over the glyphs with a solid shape. That wouldn't wear out so quickly, and adding material should count just the same as cutting into something. She didn't know why specifically, but spells with a 3D element always seemed to work better. She figured some part of the spell required you to put some effort into preparing it, but nobody ever talked about it, because it was so obvious. Time for a snack before I start, I think. Magic glyphs are tricky work. She picked out some fruity snack bars and poured herself a mug of mango juice. She took a sip, then laid out her materials and set to work on the rug. Time passed, and eventually Mickey grew bored. She wasn't constitutionally suited to long periods of intense concentration, and she'd already caught herself daydreaming twice already. She set down her pen and leaned back in her chair. I'd better stop before I forget what I'm doing and muck it up. She gave her handiwork a quick appraisal and decided it was okay so far, but she'd better put it away in case Buffy turned up. I wonder if Cordy's gonna be at the Bronze tonight. She probably would, since there didn't seem to be much else to do in Sunnydale once it went dark, unless you enjoyed fighting monsters. Cordy didn't strike Mickey as a warrior, but she could probably dance pretty well, and she'd probably look really good doing it. That got Mickey thinking about what she should wear later. She had some cool outfits for dancing, but they were probably a bit wild for Sunnydale. She could wear her dragon pants, though. They were cool. And maybe a leather vest, and her stripy bracers. Yeah, a black and green outfit. And maybe her tasseled belt, just for fun and a splash of color. She grinned. She was gonna look awesome tonight and dance with everybody. And she might even get to kiss somebody. Still smiling, she fetched her storybook and flopped onto the bed to read. Chapter 67 complete. How are we doing on time for you?
We are okay, and this is not a long one.
Okay, so we will do another.
Yeah, we should get this in.
Nice. Okay. That's chapter 68. Time to move out. Buffy arrived at Mickey's lair and checked her watch. 8 p.m. Not that Mickey would care what time she arrived. They'd never actually told her a time, because she wasn't much for the number stuff. Numerically challenged, as it were. The Slayer waited a few seconds, casually scanning her surroundings in case somebody, or something, should be watching. The coast was clear, so she ducked into the narrow tunnel and made her way into the imp cave. The tunnel was dark, surprisingly so. Mickey usually had some lamps or candles lit to give her place a homey vibe, but not tonight. Had she gone out somewhere, or was she taking a nap? She spotted a flicker of light up ahead, and hesitated, listening. There was another flicker of light, not a flash, more like something fast-moving, and there was a sound, like a shuffling, and an off-key murmuring. There was something weird and/or creepy happening in the cave. Buffy swallowed. Mickey? I did that in a more squeaky voice, but maybe Buffy's squeaky because she's scared of the creepies. I don't know. Anyway, she'd meant to call out, but at the last instant realized she didn't want to alert the murmuring shuffler to her presence. The result was a hoarse whisper. Pointless.
There you go.
Yeah. The shuffler made some new noises. A fast, breathy sound, and the light flickered some more. Buffy crept into the cave proper, pushing through the flimsy curtain door. The source of the strobing lights was in the center of the room, swinging a pair of flashlights around like batons. Buffy rolled her eyes and stepped closer. "Mickey!" she yelled. The imp whirled around sharply and yelped in surprise. Buffy recoiled from the sudden movement. "Heck! Buffy! You made me jump!" shouted the imp, speaking way louder than necessary. She juggled both the lights in one hand and used the other to dig some little white plastic plugs from her ears. They dangled on thin white cables. "I was listening to music," she explained. "You scared the jeebers out of me." Buffy raised a brow. "Those are headphones?" she asked. "Earphones! For my music thingy." She rolled up a length of white cable and stuffed a small plastic rectangle into a pocket. "Is it time for dancing?" "Weren't you already dancing?" Mickey grinned, waving her lights playfully. "I was improvising, having myself a little rave. Rave in the imp cave." She chuckled to herself. "I need to get some glow sticks." Buffy blinked and squinted as the flashlights shone in her face. Cute. Come on, let's head out. Mergon's apartment was crowded and quiet. The 3 insectoid warriors of the Trine appeared to be hibernating, at least for the time being. Blick had finally run out of questions, and Mayhew had stopped eating. He briefly wondered, how is she so thin? Her metabolism must burn fuel like a jet engine. I can't wait to see her in combat. He hoped she was fast enough to disarm and incapacitate the girl without killing her. Mergon was certain such a feat would take some serious skills, or power. He glanced at Grux, but the gigantic monster hadn't moved a muscle since entering the apartment. Mergon checked his watch and squinted out through his Venetian blinds. It was late enough that most people would be safely indoors, out of his way, and it was dark enough that the Trine could move around in the shadows if they wanted. Smiling to himself, he picked up the phone and called one of his mortal contacts. It was answered quickly.
Ben, it's me. Send your people out like we discussed. You get word of the girl's location, you call my cell phone. Yeah, or the Slayer. No, not this number, the other one. On my business card. Yeah. Okay. I'll make it worth your while. Thanks.
He hung up and strode into the sitting room. Grux and Blick didn't react, but Mayhew tilted her head to watch him as he approached. "We hunt now?" she asked. Mergon rubbed his hands together.
Yes.
He said.
Time to move out.
Buffy chuckled as Mickey flashed her MID card at the bouncer. Her illusion must have made it look like something normal, because he gave her a respectful nod and stepped aside.
Welcome to the Bronze, ma'am.
Mickey just smiled and followed Buffy inside. The club was crowded tonight, and it wasn't even late yet. Buffy had to crane her neck to see anything, and little Mickey would have no chance. She took pity on the devil girl and relayed what she could make out. "Larry's here," she said, "with his football buddies. Xander and Willow are over that way. I'm going to get a drink. You want anything?" Mickey bounced on the spot and shook her head. "I'm going to go dance with Larry. Do you think he'll like what I'm wearing?" Buffy smirked. The imp's outfit was cute and eye-catching, but in an oddly non-sexual way. Her black flared trousers were embroidered with a bright green serpentine dragon design that spat fire around the hem of her right leg. She wore a black leather vest and fingerless gloves, with woolen sleeves from wrist to elbow. The sleeves were knitted in stripes of black and neon green. Her hair was tied up in 2 long ponytails that swished around as she moved. The real eye-catcher, though, was her belt and its tassels. 6 lengths of yellow plastic tape, which hung to her knees when she was still. When she moved, the tape fluttered and swirled like a grass skirt. But grass skirts weren't usually emblazoned with hazard stripes, and the words "crime scene" do not enter. It was fun and crazy, and a stark contrast to the short skirts and micro-dresses girls usually wore to attract attention. I think he'll love it. Mickey beamed and pushed her way into the crowd. Buffy watched her go. A second later, she realized she hadn't pointed out Larry's location. How did she know which way to go? Larry was with his buddies at the usual spot, laughing and joking noisily. Mickey snuck up behind him and tugged on his elbow. He spun around, blinking in confusion. "Down here!" chuckled the imp.
Mickey, hey.
He looked down.
Whoa, what's with the outfit?
"Party mode," she explained soberly. "My dragon pants are only to be worn for extremely serious dancing." Leon leaned in and gave her a very slow look up and down.
You look like a tiny techno-goth nerd. I like it.
Larry frowned at his friend.
So, Mickey, you want a soda?
"Just some water, please. I need to stay hydrated. Party mode." The guys exchanged amused looks, and Larry went to fetch the girl a bottle of water. Jake turned in his seat.
Serious dancing, huh? With Larry?
Mickey gave him a grin. "I'll dance with anybody, alone or all at once, so long as you can keep up."
Oh, challenge.
She grinned even wider, flashing her tiny fangs. Yeah.
Oh, you're on, little girl. Challenge accepted. What about you guys? You coming?
Leon looked uncertain, and the other guys shook their heads. Mickey didn't blame them. If they'd seen her dance before, they knew they'd never keep up. And that was just her goofing off. Larry came back with a bottle and helpfully twisted off the cap before handing it over. Mickey thanked him and took a big swig. You up for some dancing, big guy? Larry quirked an eyebrow. With you? Sure thing. He took a step toward the dance floor and Jake moved too. Larry blinked. What's going on? Mickey sashayed forward, swishing her hips as she walked and setting her belt tassels fluttering. Big dance thingy! Everybody's invited! She turned back and took his hand. Come on, it'll be fun! The band were loud and energetic, which was perfect for Mickey. She was brimming with cosmic power and itching to let rip. She found a gap at the edge of the dance floor and seized her opportunity. She spun around to wink at Larry, then flipped over backward onto her hands. She did another half turn and scissor flicked back onto her feet. Jake hesitated, shocked, but Larry just chuckled. This was nothing new to him, and he was enjoying his friend's astonishment. He clapped a hand on Jake's back and gave him a gentle shove. Go on then, dance with her. Mickey was jumping up and down in time to the music, whipping her hair around like a wild thing. She came to a sudden stop, eyes wide. Oh, wait, stay here. She pushed her way into the crowd and vanished, trailing her tassels behind her. Harmony waggled her eyebrows at Cordelia and made jerky little head gestures. Cordelia stared at her blankly. What's with the face? She asked. Your little friend's on her way over. Mickey's here? She turned to look, and sure enough, a diminutive figure appeared nearby, wearing a bizarre but stylish black and green outfit. The imp spotted her and waved. Cordy waved back and turned to her friends. Play nicely, girls, she warned them. Mickey's fun and all, but she's also like some kind of ninja. Harmony blinked. Is that why she can do all that acrobatic stuff? Cordy rolled her eyes. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. She smiled as Mickey got closer. Nikisha, what a cute ensemble. I love the pants. Mickey beamed. Thanks, it's a dragon, look. She pointed to the embroidered design on her left leg. The tail's down here. It goes up and around and across the butt. She spun around to demonstrate, then down the other leg and whoosh, breathes fire around the bottom of the other leg. Aura raised an artistically plucked eyebrow. All very nice, I suppose, if you're into flares. Mickey shrugged. I like 'em. They swish about when I dance. And hey, that's what I came to talk about. What's that? Inquired Cordelia. I'm dancing over there, and the guys are all staring, and I was thinking, I can't be the hottest girl on the dance floor, can I? But yeah, it seems I can, because you girls are all over here out of the way. Harmony frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Mickey grinned at her. It means come and dance, silly. I know you've all got moves. You're all dressed up ready to break some hearts, so what are you waiting for? There's music and dancing and boys and fun to be had. Cordelia smirked. Not necessarily in that order. Buffy kept a watchful eye on the imp as she erupted back onto the dance floor. Willow and Xander exchanged worried glances.
She's gonna knock somebody's head off if she keeps spinning around like that,
Commented Xander dryly.
Fingers crossed it's Cordelia's.
Willow giggled. She does seem especially lively tonight. She was dancing by herself in the cave when I got there, said Buffy. In the dark. She was swinging a pair of flashlights about. Xander blinked.
Was there music?
She's got a Walkman or something, and tiny headphones that fit inside her ears. She thought for a moment. Probably something from the future. Willow sipped her soda. It's strange to think. She's come to us from a world that has all that super technology, but she still has such weird ideas about science. She paused, wondering if advanced technology helped somebody like Mickey, or just left her feeling even further behind. A moment of silence settled over the Scooby's table. Buffy frowned, attention still fixed on the dance floor.
What's she doing?
Asked Xander. She's got Cordy's little mob having a dance-off with the football squad. What's Mickey doing? Asked Willow. Judging? Nope, she's doing her own thing, as usual. Dancing around the outside like a pint-sized tornado. Buffy turned her attention back to the conversation. I was kind of distracted earlier, with all the science talk and language spells and the threat of brain explosions. But on the way over here, I noticed our little devil girl is stacked with magic tonight. Willow bit her lip. I thought Mickey magic gave your Slayer sense the Wiggins? It used to, but after seeing her fill up with good magic that one time, it's like I've developed a tolerance. I can still feel it, but there's no alarm bells. I'm just happy it's not making me go all stabby, so I didn't really think about it. But she's definitely done something sneaky. She's packing way more juice than yesterday. She did spend most of the day in the library, pointed out Willow.
And she does get better at it over time.
Added Xander.
Maybe she just needed more practice.
Maybe. Mind if I cut in? Larry and Cordelia blinked as Mickey appeared beside them, grinning. Larry took a step back.
Sure.
Cordelia was gorgeous and a damn good dancer, but Mickey was more fun and totally unpredictable in all the best ways. As if to prove his point, she threw her thanks over her shoulder and put her arms around Cordelia, sweeping the taller girl off to dance. Larry, suddenly alone, just laughed at Cordy's stunned expression. Cordelia, for her part, saw the joke right away and chose to roll with it. Please. She was a 90s girl. She could dance with whoever she damn well wanted. She did her best to keep up, and marveled at how Mickey somehow avoided stabbing the other dancers with her wings and tail while whirling around in time to the music. Just watching the girl was exhausting, and Cordelia was glad when the band paused between songs. Mickey kept gyrating in place, watching the band to see what they'd do next. The band had noticed her, how could they not, and launched into something slow for a change of pace. Mickey narrowed her eyes thoughtfully, watching as the other dancers adjusted. Cordelia's eyes widened. Oh no, she wouldn't. But she would. Seconds later, the cheerleader found herself sharing a close and intimate embrace with the girl, somehow dancing the lead as Mickey rested her cheek against the taller girl's chest. Wouldn't you rather do this with Larry? She squeaked, doing her best not to meet the small girl's adoring eyes. No, Larry's way too tall. This is perfect. Won't he get jealous? Why? It's not like I'm squeezing your butt or anything. Besides, imps don't exactly mate for life.
What did she just say?
Asked Jake, passing close by. Harmony shrugged. Something about a pimp, I think? Mergon sighed for the umpteenth time as his van rounded a corner and threatened to tip over. The hulking form of Grux had wedged himself right up against the side of the vehicle and refused to budge. Mayhew sat on the opposite side, but the slender assassin didn't exactly balance things out. Blick, meanwhile, sat up front, attempting to locate their targets using magic. So far, he'd created several colored sparkles in his hands, but drawn no useful conclusions. Mergon was driving around in circles, waiting for a sign and rapidly losing patience.
Most interesting,
Muttered the mage.
so much magical interference from so many sources. Widespread corruption. Is all of this world so damaged?
No,
Replied Mergon.
Sunnydale's special. You don't know this already?
The mage blinked at him, eyelids doing something weird and complex that made Mergon's skin crawl.
We are told only what we need to know. Only things that matter. The rest we learn on the job, yes?
Mergon grimaced.
Yeah, fine, okay. So you've come here completely unprepared because you didn't know this town is sat on top of a hellmouth? Awesome.
The mage grinned.
We enjoy a challenge.
Mergon's cell phone rang, and he gratefully snatched the thing and jabbed the answer button.
Go.
He barked.
Yeah? At a club? The Bronze. Yeah, I know it. One of the vampire feeding grounds. Okay, thanks. You'll get your money.
He ended the call and swung the van around in a sharp turn, cursing as it tipped up onto two wheels. He fought the wheel and got it settled again, before speeding off in the opposite direction. He noticed Blick staring at him.
What?
Your talking box was not done talking.
Well, I was done listening.
He frowned at the mage's hands, where trembling lights hovered in the space between his hooked fingers.
What's with the light show?
I have found a trace of the target. Continue in this direction.
Mergon muttered a curse. This was going to be a long night.
Just realised I'm wearing the perfect t-shirt for this.
It says patience with a low battery logo. Okay. So, was that another 4-chapter session?
It was.
Very nice, very nice.
And the next one starts with chapter 69.
Perfect. Very nice indeed. Alright. So, next time, that's not fair. So we're going to have an immediate clash between the hunters and the hunted at the bronze? Or do things dance about a while before they meet? It does say a high-speed pursuit leads to an explosive showdown. Go ahead.
Yes, we do have fight in next chapter. Not actually at the bronze, thankfully.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be carnage.
That would be new cast needed.
Right. Okay. Let's see, next week. Week after Thanksgiving in the States, but that should be fine. We don't have anything going. Like, we're not traveling for it, really. So, shouldn't be any trouble continuing on my end. Any impediments in your corner of the world?
Nothing planned this far in advance.
Okay. So we will expect to be there next time. Same cat time, same cat channel. I've not been good about getting streams live midweek, but you know where to follow to find out as and when I do make such things happen. I will probably get myself some lunch and play with my magic card some more. Any parting words?
If you can already hear the boss music, it's too late.
Until next time, my friends, live with honor and your heart is unassailable.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. It's my time, watch me build another life. Find another space, explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind. Hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score, we've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go. It's a new adventure. On a new adventure. Adventure.